I'm sure Springtrap wishes he could be in a Swift right now. It's getting so ridiculous.
I put an asterisk. There's a little bit of up and down. We want to improve the value for survivors to interact with the camera.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's a bit of a down. But we're giving him some stat buffs to compensate.
Okay, cool.
So if survivors still don't interact with the camera, it's all buff.
Okay, so I'm doing this video to address the dev stream specifically about Springtrap. I've been asked if I trust behavior. I do not. They say they're being consulted and they're talking to their content creators. That doesn't mean much. Because we all saw how much they really care. People say, well, give them a chance, give them a chance. I've played this game since 2018. They have to earn my trust back. They always say a lot of nice things, and then they never hold up what they say they're gonna do. And Springtrap has a lot of people worried because, as everybody knows, specifically if they've watched my videos, I do not like the way streamers give advice for Springtrap. So I am not thrilled that they are asking those same streamers for advice on how to fix him, because they're not probably the best people to be asking. So let's start from the beginning. Right now, Springtrap has a minimum of 4 bugs. There's the axe grab bug, which I have been asked over and over and over by multiple Springtrap mains, both in and out of my Discord, to talk about this. It is one of the most infuriating and frustrating bugs Springtrap has. It's where you go to do an axe grab, the survivor will freak out, they will run off, you get denied your axe grab, and the axe will turn invisible. This extends chases in a gen meta that already has an average of games being roughly 4 to 5 minutes long, because gens are going so fast. On top of that, there's the spawn logic issue, which is creating huge clusters of pallets and some of the most wild tiles I have ever seen outside of 2v8. Today I ran into a tile that was a direct tile from 2v8, but it had no windows and it had no pallets. It was just a bunch of walls shoved together. So this axe grab bug is particularly nasty because it denies you your axe grab, it extends chases, it denies you a hook, and possibly a kill depending on the hook stage of the survivor you were going to grab. This is the most frustrating bug. It is the one everybody in the Springtrap community is talking about. Then we have 2 lesser, or at least a few lesser bugs. The invisible survivor bug, where you go to do an axe grab, you actually get the axe grab, but the survivor turns invisible. There's nothing that breaks that. As soon as the animation is over, the survivor will reappear. At least they did for me. Then you have the invisible axe and aura bug, where as soon as the axe leaves your hand, the axe turns invisible, and the aura turns invisible. Yeah, you still get the benefits, so like Endo TPU, Foxy's hook, you still benefit from them. But if you're like me and have like severe ADHD, one, I need the visual to help me know where I put the axe, because if I wander too far away from the area, I'm going to forget where it is, and I can't see it, so screw me, I guess. Then there is the Bonnie's guitar strings aura bug. The guitar string aura bug is annoying, but it can be fixed. You just change the generator auras. If you have default, just change them to a different color. My generators are purple now. If you had a different set of auras already, just change it to another one and it will fix the bug for whatever reason. I'm assuming it is a bug that came in with the aura changes. Now, because I've been collecting Springtrap mains like they're candy, I have plenty of people to talk to, specifically about Springtrap. And there are a lot of changes that need to be done that most of them agree on. The first one is the streamers need to be base kit. Past me will explain it, because I already did an add-on video, so let Past me explain it. Streamers. This is one of two add-ons that is not correct in the description. While traveling through the security doors, you benefit from the following effect. Increase your movement speed by 15%. It does not. You will see the side-by-side. It does not increase your actual movement speed. You move at the same exact speed as you do without the streamers. What's faster is how fast you come out of the doors. You get cut about half a second off the exit animation of the doors. I don't know why they say your movement speed is increased by 15%. It is not. It's not. Just your exit animation is faster, which gives you the 0.5 second reduction of coming out of the door. It makes it look like you moved faster, but you do not. And for the hardcore Springtrap fans out there who I am aware he needs tweaks. Yes, I know he needs a few changes. This is one of the changes he needs. Streamers needs to be base kit. Behavior, please change that. Give him base kit streamers, rework streamers. Add more speed to streamers, maybe actually fix the description to where it matches the in-game play, just a thought, but I will show you with a side-by-side. Left video is no streamers, right video is streamer. I set up the animation to where it was exactly when he punched the door at the exact same time. See him go in, choose the door, walk. It's the exact same speed. But as you see, despite the menu needs to be base kit. Again, Past me will explain it. Restaurant menu. While retrieving the fire axe, when it is embedded in the environment, you benefit from the following effect. Reduce the minimum retrieval time by 20%. This needs to be base kit too. Restaurant menu needs to be base kit. Behavior needs to fix that too. Now, his recovery, so starting with the post-throw recovery. His post-throw recovery is 2 seconds. He moves slower at 2.76 from 4.4/4. Like, free would have to be 4.4. While he is in recovery, he cannot M1, he cannot break pallets, he cannot vault, and he cannot kick gens. He is literally locked for 2 full seconds. Survivors abuse this like no other. They will sit there and stare at you for a full 2 seconds before going and doing anything. They will stand across the other side of a pallet and just stare at you, teabag you, click at you, whatever, for 2 seconds because they know they're safe. If you throw and miss, a survivor will abuse that by running towards you and there's nothing you can do. Now for reference, Huntress, who is also a 4.4, her cooldown is 2 seconds. But she only moves slower, and she moves less slow than Springtrap. During her recovery, she moves faster at 3.74 meters per second, opposed to Springtrap's 2.76. And on top of that, she can still M1 and interact with the environment. And on top of that, she also has multiple hatchets instead of one. So this needs to either be halved or quartered. So it needs to either be 1 or 0.5 because 2 is way too much. And if they're going to keep it at 2, they need to remove all of this to put him on par with Huntress. And you can say, well, after you throw it, you move at 4.6. But without the axe, you are nothing more than an M1 killer. You are nothing more than like Trapper. You have no power. And the recall for that axe, I believe, is 7 seconds after you throw it. So you are literally stuck as an M1 killer. And then if you recall it, you're back down at 4.4. This needs to be gone. If they're going to keep it to where you can't M1, you can't break pallets, can't vault, can't kick gens, can't do anything except stare at a survivor for 2 seconds, they either need to lower this, or get rid of this. One of the two, because this is ridiculous. This is something that every single Springtrap player I have seen, whether they main him or casual him, are infuriated by this. Because survivors are abusing it like no other. His speed needs to be adjusted. So 4.4 with the axe encourages players to toss the axe. Now this is because that is what streamers have suggested. I went over this in my big rant video. Streamers will say just toss the axe at the beginning so you can move at 4.6. But again, that turns you into a M1 killer. And then when you have to recall it, you have to go through the recall animation. And then you have to do the wind up animation. And then you have to throw it, which will all slow you down. Like, you get crippled no matter what you do. So that is what some of the streamers are telling them. Because you move at 4.4 with the axe, throw it and then recall it when you use it. But when you recall it and you have to go through all of the animations, you still get slowed down. So you get crippled either way. On the other hand, newer players will, like, if they haven't been told by streamers to throw it, they will grip onto that axe like their life depends on it. Or they start just going, trying to machine gun it. Well, they will recall it, throw it, recall it, throw it, recall it, throw it. Which a lot of people in my Discord, when they first started Springtrap, that was what they would do. They would throw it, and I mean, they would immediately throw it as soon as they recalled it. They wouldn't aim, they wouldn't take time to, like, follow survivors. They would recall, throw, recall, throw, recall, throw. And as you can imagine, that will slow you down too, because you have, again, animations that will slow you down. And then you're trying to go, and the transition between 4.4 and 4.6 is very janky, and it is not smooth. So it hurts. And on top of that, you get none of the other benefits that the 4.4 killers will get. So here are all the 4.4 killers that I can remember. And I always thought Nurse was slower than 4.4, but somebody in Discord said no, she is 4.4. Huntress, multiple hatchets, 2-second post-throw recovery, just like Springtrap, but can M1 and interact after it. Trickster, who should never have been 4.4 to begin with, because he has it hard enough as is. Again, multiple projectiles. Deathslinger, 1 projectile, but he has a fast reload time of 2.6, opposed to Springtrap, who can only recall after, I believe, 7 seconds. And his speed reduction is 2.03 while reloading. Again, opposed to the 2.76. Hag, rip, like, she has teleports, but her teleports are instant, and on top of that, survivors really don't have a counter to it. You step on a trap, she can instant teleport and hit you. Spirit, she has the phase ability, where she moves at high speeds. You can't see her, you have to use audio cues. Vecna is probably the closest to Springtrap. But except his teleport, survivors can't use. And he can choose where to go, how to go, when to go. He can lurk, he can hide. His teleport is much stronger. His ranged attack is much stronger. His ranged attack can go through floors, ceilings, walls, pallets, windows. He can invalidate tiles, he can invalidate loops, he can invalidate vaults. Something Springtrap can't do, and Springtrap is still weaker in all of these. And if you come out and say, well, he gets 4.6 without the axe, that is a disingenuous argument, because at 4.6 without his axe, he is nothing more than a basic M1 killer. He gets no benefits. While he has the axe, he gets one single ranged attack with a 7-second cooldown, and then this massive, crippling post-throw recovery. So he is already way weaker in his ranged ability. Now you can say his axe, because it has so many uses. Well, the problem with all of his uses is that a lot of them benefit survivors too. Foxy's hook. That 7% speed is nice, yeah, but if you miss, the survivors are going to get it. If you throw it on the ground in front of you instead of at a survivor, yeah, you're 4.6, yeah, you get the 7%, but the wind-up time, the throw animation, and then the recovery afterwards is still going to cripple you, because you will still, even if you use it for speed, you will still have this. So if you somehow catch the survivor within the time of this recovery, you can't do anything. If they throw a pallet between you and them while you're in this, so you throw it, you go through it, you catch up to them, God forbid you in this recovery, because they throw a pallet, you're just going to stare at the pallet for another second. And then as you're breaking it, they're going to run off, and by then Foxy's hook is going to wear off. Like, he needs either to be a straight 4.6 killer, because his ranged abilities are so much weaker than the other 4.4 killers. Instant teleport, instant hit. Deathslinger's harpoon, I believe, doesn't go as far as Springtrap's axe, but his reload time is fast. And you can even mitigate this with add-ons. Again, Trickster is suffering right now because everyone's like, yeah, he needed to be 4.6. I've seen people comment about, yeah, I'm going to go play Huntress because at least my ranged attacks will, take away a health state. Huntress, multiple hatchets. You can use her Eerie, assuming you're good with hatchets, and get insta-downs. I saw an Eerie head Huntress on Gideon, and she murdered everyone. Like, even Spirit's recovery is shorter. Vecna's teleport and ranged, both stronger. Nurse needs no introduction. Her blinks go through walls, pallets, tiles, floors. Twins, same thing. Victor is very, very fast. He has no red stain. He has no tear radius. You have to listen for him. He can both injure down. He can cause broken. He also gives information. Killer Instinct will trigger if survivors are near him, whether he's attached to a survivor or on the ground. Like, all the other 4.4 killers are so much stronger overall. At least in the reason, because theoretically, the reason Hag is 4.4 is because of her teleports. And I believe they're map-wide, so she can be on one end and teleport to the other. And again, survivors can't use her teleport. And it's an instant teleport, and she can get an M1 off as soon as she teleports and cause an injury. And even then, she has add-ons to mitigate her 4.4. I believe it's either the hand or the shoe. I only played her a little bit, but one of them makes her base speed much faster. So even then, she's not really a 4.4 if you use the add-ons. So something has to change up here, whether either this needs to be changed drastically, and I'm not talking about little percentages like behavior wants to do. I'm talking about remove most of this or lower this. Because his recovery, his speed is slower than all of them. He cannot interact with anything, unlike all of these. And without it, yeah, he's 4.6, but he's reduced to a literal M1 killer with no extra powers or benefits. And his axe benefits, say Chica's Bib, Foxy's Hook, are extremely temporary and in some cases work against you like Foxy's Hook. So you get punished either way. And especially right now, when the gen meta is so insane, it punishes Springtrap particularly because of all the issues he's having. On top of the spawn logic bug. And yes, it is a spawn logic bug. I will get to that at the end of this. Because there have been some disingenuous people about that bug. Now, issues with his door. My problem is they want survivors to interact more with the doors, which tells me behavior only looks again at solo queue for their information. The lack of interaction with his doors is a survivor-specific issue, not a door design issue. Low MMR survivors will completely misuse it, they go in it at the wrong time, or they will never touch it. The high MMR survivors, i.e. Swifts, specifically Swifts, will abuse the hell out of those cameras. Specifically the cameras too. The camera distance to reveal, the camera's reveal distance is 18 meters. Now the problem with that isn't this, it is this. Because those cameras can see through walls, ceilings, floors, and objects. So they have 8, and those doors are put around in places where they are useful, usually at tiles where generators are. The camera reveal duration is 10 seconds. And on top of that, the camera reveal counters your undetectable you get from the door. So, if you're playing stealth, or you are planning on using it for, like, to help with pre-running, the doors will say, screw you, the entire survivor squad can now see you. Now, we see you, the actual survivor perk that does the exact same thing, the only difference is we see you cannot counter your undetectable. The camera reveal duration is literally stronger than one of the strongest aura reading perks survivors have right now. Because we see you is 15 seconds, and it can be forced through object of obsession. This can just be forced by a survivor looking at you through a camera, and they can see you through a wall, floor, ceiling, or objects. Now, I've heard people disingenuously say, again, well, then they're off of gens. If they're messing with the cameras, they are off of gens. It does not matter. Because my average games are about 4 to 5 minutes long. And when I look at the survivor perks, all I see are resilience, fast track, deja vu, prove thyself, and or stakeout and hyper focus. Which, by the way, everyone's praising the diminutive returns or the diminishing returns. Guess what? If that's specifically for speeds, it will have zero effect on stakeout, hyper focus, and fast track. Because those are not speed perks, they are skill check perks. They do not affect gen speed like Prove Thyself or Deja Vu. So the cons of the door, because Springtrap's doors are also one of his biggest weaknesses. The door panel will glitch, giving survivors a warning that you are teleporting to the door, giving survivors plenty of time to pre-run. This is heavily reliant on RNG and where the door is facing. The panel will glitch 4 seconds before Springtrap exits the door, which is the time, by the way, it takes him, as soon as you choose the door you're teleporting to, the door that is you are teleporting to will start to glitch on the panel. This needs to be reduced to 2 seconds. So, because pre-running is one of Springtrap's biggest issues. So, door panel glitch, 2 seconds before he comes out. This is way too damn long. Because you come out of that door and people are like already halfway through a tile. And yeah, you can teleport to another door and come out. But then you have to walk to the generator you want, which again, in this current meta, isn't going to work because generators are going so fast. Now, here's another problem, because for some reason, behavior gave, when it comes to the doors, behavior gave survivors everything. And now they're trying to buff the doors, which are already one of Springtrap's weakest points. Just because solo queue and baby survivors don't understand how to use the doors. So they're going to try to, in essence, punish Springtrap for what solo queue survivors can't do. Because let's be honest. At this point, Survivor is brain dead. While you travel through the door auras will flicker. I was doing a duo this morning. We had Springtrap, and he was asking me, why are the doors flickering? Why are the door auras flickering? They're flickering because it's telling you that Springtrap is currently traveling through the doors. Not that specific door. If it were that specific door, it would be the panel. All of the door auras will flicker to let every survivor know he is currently traveling through the doors. That is not necessary. Especially when you have all this other crap up here that's already crippling him. Why does he have this too? It can be countered by Mindbreaker, because Mindbreaker keeps you from seeing auras, but that means you have to use a perk to prevent something that should not even exist to begin with. Now, for reference, because there are other teleport killers, Dredge, locker exit with no lock is near instant. You get an audio cue that he teleported into that locker, and that's up to the survivor whether to run or not. A locker exit with a lock is 2.25 seconds. So this, ideally, is what you want the door warning to be. The door panel glitch. And on top of that, because people will say, well, you can do an insta-grab out of the doors. You can do an insta-grab out of lockers too. And it is still 2.25 seconds. And to anyone who's going to say, that never happens, it happens all the time right now. When I played Dredge once, I caught somebody in the lockers. When I played Survivor, one of my teammates went into a locker against a Dredge. I saw a video maybe a couple of weeks ago of a head-on bully squad, for some reason, attempting to head on a Dredge, and it did not end well. So this still happens all the time. The TV exit is 2.7 seconds. We see that it never goes over 3, and yet, for Springtrap, 4-second pre-warning, while everyone else is under 3. And you could say, well, he's got an axe. Yeah, his axe is crippling him too. He is crippled in a way that you can point, and this is, I think, behavior's biggest issue. They looked at everything individually. They looked at his axe. And comparatively, yeah, it's not bad, it's balanced. Then they looked specifically at the doors and say, okay, well, the teleport, because he's ranged, and this is other teleport killers, it's balanced. But then when you put it all together, it is not balanced, he is crippled. Especially since the two other teleport killers here are 4.6. They don't have a ranged attack, but his ranged attack is hurting him too. Especially right here, again. Instead of looking at Springtrap as a whole, they pretty much just looked at him and said, that's balanced, that's balanced, that's balanced. But then when they put it together, he is not balanced. And before, Springtrap was decent. You could overlook a lot of these things because you could make up for it in either builds or playstyles. You cannot do that anymore because of the pallet spawning, or not the pallet spawning, the spawn logic bug and the generator speeds. So it already took what was hurting him so much and amplified it to where you can't ignore it anymore. Now the survivors that can use these doors for quick teleports, which is another problem, and you won't see this too often in low MMR. You will see this all the goddamn time in high MMR. Especially big maps like Larry's, the Yamaokas, RPD. Yeah, you will see this all the time. Especially if you're in chase. So this does not balance out to say, well, you get insta-grabs out of the doors. This is so disingenuous because Springtrap only knows if somebody is in the doors, if he sees them go in, or he is close enough to the doors to hear the double beep alert that the door makes. Now, that double beep, you have to be pretty close to the door to hear it. And on top of that, it can almost be impossible to hear over his chase theme. And, again, if a survivor has more than a brain cell, they will loop you away from the door, especially if you're in a Swift, or they are in a Swift. I'm sure Springtrap wishes he could be in a Swift right now. It's getting so ridiculous. If a survivor is in a Swift, they will take you somewhere where there isn't a door, so their teammates have free reign of the doors. They can just teleport wherever they want. You literally don't have to worry about anything as survivor. If you see Springtrap is in chase, you can use those doors as however you please. Because also, the timing for the grab is very, very finicky, and it is very, very short. So even if you hear the double beep while during chase, there's a good chance that if you go through the door, you still won't be able to get it in time. So this is pretty much just a free teleport for survivors. There's very, very, very little downside to using these doors as a teleport. Especially big maps like Larry's, you can go and you can prevent 3 gens by teleporting to gens you want. Again, they normally will not do this while you're not in chase. What they will do is they will get on the camera, reveal you, see where you are, see if it's safe, see if you're close to a door, because they even know, you have to walk over to the door and choose the door they're teleporting to, and there's a good chance you're going to miss the window to grab them. Again, this is high MMR stuff with Swifts, or survivors who aren't brain dead yet. They abuse the ever-living hell out of those doors, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. And on top of this, because it has to be said, these teleports are adding to the generator speed. So you already have like gen busting builds out there. Say you're another teleport killer, Dredge. Generators are already flying, but they still have to walk across the map. They still have to walk across Larry's to get to a gen on the other side of the map. They don't with Springtrap. As soon as they see that somebody's in chase, free doors, free teleports. There is no downside to using the doors. And because people in solo queue and low MMR never use the doors, or really bad at using the doors, they're looking to buff the doors for survivors. And just like everything else in Behavior's brain, specifically the balance team, buffing his doors is going to make him so much worse at high MMR. It is going, depending on what they do, it could break him at high MMR. Because high MMR survivors and Swifts are already abusing his doors to keep you revealed, to break your stealth, keep you revealed, give wall hacks to whoever you're chasing. Because that's usually how Swifts work. They will reveal your orb with the door, so their teammate has wall hacks on you for 10 seconds while you're trying to loop them. So forget any mind games. Yeah, it's already broken at high MMR. They're trying to buff it because low MMR. And they're going to end up really hurting Springtrap if they do that. Now they said, well, Springtrap has an asterisk because it's up and down. If they buff those doors, because it's low MMR, the survivors at low MMR still aren't going to use the doors. It just increases the use at high MMR. And it's going to make it worse. But Behavior, for some reason, does not understand that. Maybe they should put in a tutorial for killers specifically, saying, hey, here's a killer, here's what they can do, here's what you can do to counter it. Just like I've seen so many people lately being condemned by Sadako because they don't use her TVs. Low MMR is the one not using the doors. High MMR survivors will use the piss out of those doors. Now you can say, well, the doors have power. Yeah, they do. The door will power down after some time, preventing survivors from using them, but the power down time only really has an effect if multiple survivors are on the doors together at the same time. I figured this out last night, doing another full 4-man Swift. I was on one door, someone else was on the other. That battery drained pretty fast, yeah. It didn't make a difference. Yeah, it was on Ormond, so it's not like we needed the teleport. We were just looking to refill his ore. The door has 100 charges. Camera use alone is only 7 charges a second. And considering how fast you can flip through those doors and reveal him and then get your ass back on a generator, this is why it's abused by Swifts. And to also counter well, while they're looking through the door camera, they're off of gens. Again, that is a absolute bullshit excuse, because gens take, 15 to 20 seconds to complete now? So, being on the door doing something else for 4 seconds, because I believe it takes 4 seconds to reveal Springtrap, doesn't really mean anything because generators are going so fast. Yeah, they're off, but as soon as they get back on the generator, guess what? The gen's gonna pop in 10 seconds. These doors are abused at high MMR. Fix the eerie remnant. Past me will explain that bullshit too, because this needs a full rework. It does not need number changes, it needs a full rework. This is the only Eerie in the entire game that actively hurts the killer. More than he already is, because it again gives so much warning. It's like Behavior was afraid to hurt survivors, so they literally create everything handholdy for survivors. Now, past me will explain this. The iridescent remnant. Do not use this. I, in most cases, will never tell you not to use an add-on, because I want people to play Springtrap as he's mint with greater versatility. The description of it is not correct. Until Behavior fixes that, do not use it. The iridescent remnant, upon traveling to a security door, the following effect is applied to it. Blocks all upright pallets within 32 meters of that security door for 12 seconds. It is not 12 seconds, it is 8. The way Behavior did this, and I can't understand why. When you are inside the security door and you choose the other door to go to, the second you choose the other door, that is when the pallets are blocked. You lose 4 seconds of the 12 seconds it says you get. So in reality, when you come out of that door, you only have 8. The pallets are blocked while you are traveling through the door. And this has to be said. If you have a door that is not facing a generator, where they can't see the glitching panel, this add-on will warn them ahead of time that you are coming. The exact same time that the panel starts glitching is when the pallets are blocked. So even though they can't see the door, they will know you're coming because all the pallets in the area will be blocked. And because it's 32 meters, I have suggested other people who have trouble with pre-running go to a closer door. It doesn't matter, because if that door is within 32 meters of the generator you want to go check, they still get the warning. It is ridiculous. And now let's get on to the spawn bugs, because the spawn logic bugs are one of the biggest issues. So it is not a 2v8 pallet bug. I originally thought that, but then survivors started coming out and complaining like they normally do, except this time it was an actual valid complaint. It is not a 2v8 pallet spawn bug. There are not more pallets than there were before. What is happening is there is an issue with the game's spawning logic. Survivors have been spawning in the most unreal areas. They've spawned on top of tiles. They've spawned in trees. The most egregious one, and probably the worst, is they have spawned next to the killer, which that should never happen. I did a game recently. I spawned right next to Chucky. Like, his terror radius was in full swing. I came around a rock and there he was. Yeah, it's not just that. Like I mentioned earlier, I saw the most unreal 2v8 tile spawn, where it was just a bunch of walls smushed together, with no pallets, in one window. I think there was one window. And it may have not even been there. It was a weak window to begin with. And then on top of that, the way the pallets are spawning is from the pallet logic. And what I mean by the pallet logic is that, so I have an example. I believe it was on Badham, and I specifically did to see what the pallets were doing. And I believe I saw either 6 or 7, because there was a pallet behind me too, spawn in one area. That is not extra pallets. What the spawn logic is doing is that it's taking pallets, which would normally be evenly spread, it's plucking some of them up, and then it's putting them where they shouldn't be, which is causing a dead zone on one part of the map, and then it's creating a pallet cluster on the other part of the map. Which is why I've seen survivors complaining, I don't know what killers are talking about, I keep running into dead zones. And then killers over here are complaining, 2v8 pallet spawns are back. It's both of them, because what it's doing, it's creating a dead zone in one place and a pallet cluster in the other, because it's just moving the pallets to where they shouldn't be. And I know it's specifically a spawn logic bug, not a specific pallet bug, because of the way survivors are spawning, the way tiles are spawning. It is a spawn logic bug. And Behavior, in their infinite wisdom, said there's not a problem with pallet spawns, and there's not. But for some reason they couldn't put together, well, there's a lot of complaints, maybe we should look at the spawns themselves. So yeah, there's not more pallet spawning, they're just spawning in the wrong place. Instead of being even, they're all clustered on one part of the map, and then there's a dead zone on the other. So that's what's going on with the pallet spawns. But these are my thoughts, and this is also why I'm very worried for Springtrap, because Behavior themselves are only looking at people who are solo queue and low MMR, because let's be real, that's who they're trying to balance for. And then, like everything else, Springtrap is going to be hurt so bad at high MMR if they buff the doors. And if they just do the smallest little tweaks, it's not going to mean anything. He's not going to get any buffs. He's just going to get crippled even further. So I have no faith in Behavior. They have not earned my faith. They have made horrible decisions in the past. So there are people in the Discord, obviously I can't because I'm console, who are going to test the PTB, but if they're not careful, they're going to kill Springtrap. And I know this because despite having mostly Springtrap mains in my Discord, a lot of them are on break. They're looking at other killers. They are not even playing DBD because Springtrap right now is so frustrating to play between the bugs, the spawn logic, and the gen speeds. He is not fun to play right now. So Behavior had better be careful. Too many tweaks in the wrong area for the doors and not enough for Springtrap himself, you're gonna kill him.